Here's pole position for Neil Hodgson. 2 Ducatis, 1 Suzuki and 1 Yamaha on the front row here at Silverstone. 45 miles, a little over 45 miles, 20 laps, and Hodgson gets a flyer, number 4. But into the lead. Early start for Chris Walker, number 2. Up the inside, grabbing the advantage into Copse. Neil Hodgson just ahead. Looking back now from Hodgson, on the left-hand side of your picture, you saw Walker scoot past. Looking behind, the number 8 Yamaha of Steve Hislop, but it's Hodgson leading. Number 2, Chris Walker on the Suzuki in second. Heeling through now, down towards the back side of the circuit and into Beckett's. A very tight first gear right-hander, flicking through the chicane, out of the chicane. The next one will be the right-hander of Abbey, and Walker is in second. Hodgson leads. A brilliant start for Yamaha's Steve Hislop. He's there in third and very much in touch. It's Reynolds, championship leader, number 3, in 4th place. A long way to go, 2¼ miles each lap this circuit, and believe me, I've walked every inch of it. It's a long way round. The thing that struck me is that there does appear to be a lack of indicators for braking. Very difficult to get a perspective here, Roger Burnett. Is it an easy circuit to ride?
Well, it's 20 laps this race distance, and yes, it is an easy circuit to ride because it's like a billiard table. I have to tell you that the tyres are in perfect contact with the tarmac the whole way through this lap. There aren't any bumps or blemishes on it. Fabulous runoff areas, and Silverstone have done a fantastic job of getting this circuit ready for superbikes. And round through to complete lap 1 onto the start and finish. Number 4 there, Neil Hodgson, tucking himself down behind the bubble, and that's the team watching from the pit counter there. They'll be signalling, watching their man and giving him every indication as to how far he is ahead. And we've got a faller, and that's Rob Frost. That's standing in for the injured Shane Byrne.
Back at the front, though, the 25-year-old Neil Hodgson, who is growing in confidence, growing in stature. He's already a very tall man, but he is growing in terms of his personal self-esteem, and he knows full well that he can win this championship. That's not to say that Chris Walker, number 2, doesn't think along exactly the same lines. 3 times runner-up in the British Championship, Chris Walker. That's why he carries the number 2 plate, and he is more than desperate. He is convinced that this year could be his year.
Hodgson looks to have pulled a slight gap on Walker now. Whether Chris Walker's made a mistake off camera where we can't see as they go through the chicane one more time and down this long back straight towards Abbey Corner and past the midway point in the race. Hodgson looks like he's got this one pretty much in the bag.
Hodgson threading his way through the tail enders so soon in this race. Oh, and this the battle for 4th place. Number 22, Steve Plater. Neil Mackenzie, number 7. Then it's number 5, James Hayden. And sitting on the back of this flying quartet, number 8, Steve Hislop. We're looking forwards now from James Hayden. Twice a winner this season. He's the only man in this quartet who has won a race this season. And that's number 7, Neil Mackenzie. He will know that James Hayden burns with a passion behind him. And of course, Mackenzie, it's fair to say, in the twilight of his career, 3 times a former champion in this series. No one knows anything more about motorcycle racing than Neil Mackenzie, but he does have the fire of youth burning behind him. Hayden pushing hard. Similarly, number 22, Steve Plater on the Kawasaki, sitting currently in 4th place, and that 4th place, I have to say, looks a little bit threatened because Neil Mackenzie is looking for a way past Hodgson's teammate Mackenzie, going for 4th place, and he too is getting quicker as the weeks go by in this championship, having finally got his Ducati sorted the way he likes it. Well, meanwhile, Neil Hodgson is through the traffic, the team expecting him to come home for the checkered flag. He's still in with a few tail enders, but riding relatively calmly now as he comes out of Lothiel this time, squirting up towards Woodcut Corner on the run into the checkered flag and powering through. It's Neil Hodgson. He's got this one. A fairly easy, if that's the word, victory for Neil Hodgson in round 11, and he acknowledges that one, as indeed does the crowd. And Chris Walker slipped back significantly. Can only think he had some small problem, but the tail enders might well have played a part. Well, there's confirmation of Neil Hodgson's win, almost 3 seconds from Walker at the flag. Reynolds is on the rostrum. He'll be pleased. A good ride by Mackenzie. Hayden and Plater 4th and 5th. And in fairness to John Reynolds, he's not in the best of health, suffering with a very heavy head cold this weekend, but second on the grid, so he's got to go this time. But a great start again by number 4 from pole position. position, Neil Hodgson, who's grabbed the whole shot. It's Chris Walker again. Chris Walker number 2. There's Steve Hislop in extremely close company, having gone past or trying to go past Neil Hodgson. We're looking back now from the number 4 factory Ducati. Hislop on the Yamaha breathing down his neck, but it's Chris Walker getting away a bit this time. Hodgson in second, already with a race 1 win under his belt. Just 1 point now he trails championship leader John Reynolds by, who is sitting in 4th place. The number 3 Ducati, the Team Revi Racing Ducati in 4th. Hislop on the red Yamaha. James Toseland, number 52 on the Honda, out of the running this time, but he's going to restart. Can he get back in the points? Well, the youngster has tenacity. The shake of the head tells you how furious. Oh, and he nearly lost traction there. There's something on the track, I suspect, at that point, and we have a red flag. So a restart, and away they go. A little wheelie from the number 8 Yamaha of Steve Hislop. Not such a good start that time. Streaming now towards the first right-hander of Copse. Through goes Chris Walker. Again, he grabbed the lead this time. Hodgson, so it's deja vu for this pair. Reynolds, much better this time. He's in 3rd. Plato got away extremely well too. So the Kawasaki sitting there in close company as they head away out in the country for the first time.
This fantastic helicopter shot just shows how beautiful this circuit is. Through the chicane, now flicking left, holding the bike over to the left, down towards Abbey Corner. John Reynolds got a much better start, as you mentioned, and Steve Hislop will be disappointed that it was actually a red flag, because Steve Hislop's now down in 6th place. This is the view from Neil Hodgson's onboard camera, rear facing as they exit Abbey Corner.
There, Paul Denning, Suzuki factory bots, watching his man lead the race. Chris Walker, number 2 then, delivering through the chicane. Away they go now, down towards Abbey, the right-hander. It's Hodgson in very close company. Hodgson making a move now on Chris Walker. Neil Hodgson, oh, there's more contact. Chris Walker holding the tight line. Hodgson's down. Unbelievably, it's a repeat of what happened almost at Alton Park. Neil Hodgson is off the Ducati. This time, however, Chris Walker stayed on, and he's away. Roger, what happened here?
Well, this is a difficult place to overtake. Neil Hodgson got past Chris Walker. You see Walker's struggling to control his machine, ends up on the curb on the inside. There was no grip there, and he had no choice but to bang into Neil Hodgson. But I think that's going to be a controversial move as we see it from the on-bike camera on the back of Neil's bike. Let's hope that's not damaged. But Neil not at all happy, but back at the front, and that's Walker still from Hislop. Now Hislop's not going to give up, because Hislop needs a result. He hasn't been on the podium for some races now, and starting the year as he did with taking the first 3 pole positions, whoa, and James Hayden says, hang on a minute, pick that Yamaha up out of the way, because I'm coming past and I'm the man now that's going to chase Walker.
Hislop looking over the shoulder to see who else was coming, because this was a very brave attempt by James Hayden to grab 2nd place, which he did successfully, pushing Steve Hislop just a little bit wide and almost closing right on the back of Chris Walker as he did so. Chris Walker leads, number 2. Then in 2nd place it's number 5, James Hayden. Then number 8, Steve Hislop, who knows that he's got John Reynolds, and we're on the penultimate lap with Hayden's Ducati wiggling all over the circuit. John Reynolds is in 4th, and he knows he wants to get more points, but it's Hislop on that final rostrum place at the moment. Mackenzie has gone past Reynolds. Into 4th goes number 7, Neil Mackenzie. So John Reynolds slipping back, obviously the effects of his cold. He's not a well boy this weekend. The next round is in 2 weeks' time at Alton Park. He will almost certainly be fit by then, but it's Chris Walker holding the tight line now on the last lap. A burst of flame from the Suzuki as the fuel inside the exhaust system catches fire as he puts the power on under bridge. Away he goes now into the stadium area, the complex now, where the crowd can see that Chris Walker is poised to take his victory here in the 2nd race, round 12, marching on, while in fact his arch rival Neil Hodgson is watching from the sidelines. James Hayden having a very close look. Can Hayden steal a march going into the closing stages of this riveting race, incident-packed race, and a terrific performance by the 30 riders in front of the 20,000 plus spectators here at Silverstone. Hayden now, they know the tail enders. Chris Wilson, number 34, again about to be zapped by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 very fast men, but it's number 2, Chris Walker. Past Wilson, he goes on the outside. Hayden shaving past Chris Wilson, the tail ender. James Hayden knew full well then he had to hang on to the coattails of Chris Walker. We are on our last lap, about a mile and a half to do.
It's an interesting race as this has developed, because I think if Neil Hodgson were in it, he would have set a pace that would have spread everyone out. The fact that he's gone out of it means that everybody's bunched up really closely. Now, James Hayden, again, a man that would like to have a good result. Walker rides a very defensive line down there into Abbey. You can see that Hayden is leaning across to the right, Walker's up the inside, and now we're on the approach to Bridge, and it's just the infield to go.
The Bridge ahead of you, the right-hander as they drop down in the dip, the right-hander of Bridge, then the left of Priory. Hayden is all over the back of Chris Walker, went in there a bit hot. Priory second gear, Brooklands the tight one, round the outside goes Hayden. He is trying everything he knows, and now the right-hander, the sweeping, tightening, ever tightening right-hander of Luffield, and the stadium area is in sight. Woodcote corner, they will go up through the gearbox here, 5th on the Ducati, 6th on the Suzuki, but the checkered flag is poised for Chris Walker. Fist in the air tells the story. A great win for the Suzuki Teamster. He needed that one for the championship. He needed that one for his self-esteem. And there you go, average speed 97.03. Your winner, Chris Walker, and number 8, Steve Hislop, 3rd and on the rostrum. The customary wheelie from Chris Walker. What a tremendous ride. Poor Neil Hodgson watched it all going on, but Walker, Hayden, Hislop, Mackenzie, Reynolds was 5th. That will help with this championship challenge.